Copies. It's on page
12.
12? Yeah. Okay, so Chevra, as the Torah always used to say, today we're going to reveal the secrets of the Torah. Every time, yeah. So I just want to start before we Latoisus beer in Shemet Turak. Before we get into it, what were we talking about in this Maimar? About oil, that Shemen Turak Shemecha, that when you pour water from one to another, you're pouring the entire cup that's in here, and you're pouring it into another cup. So what happens is the top of the water, when you put it in the other cup, becomes the bottom, and the bottom becomes the top. So we were speaking about that concept. So what Al Rebbe a lot of times does in my marim of Likkutei Torah, a lot of times he writes a maimer, but then he writes Ula Tosfot Bior. Tosfot means we're going to just add more spice and more taste to what I explained last week. But it's almost like it adds like a lot of flavor and more pieces that we didn't learn till now. So let's speak about just one thing. And this is very important, is there's a difference between hamshachat haseichel and having a child. Let me explain to you. When a teacher teaches a student, let's take a teacher that's like on a very high level, let's say like the Rebbe and Hasidim. So the teacher, whatever he teaches to the student, even if he tries to explain it in the highest level, he's still giving the student only a little, how would I put it, a little ray, a little understanding of what he's understanding, but he's not giving the student the essence. So basically, when you are a good student from a good teacher, you're learning from the teacher, let's say, the trade. But you don't get the teacher itself. So I could be a good teacher, I'll teach you a new trade, and I'll teach you a new way of doing things, and you'll be expert, and you say, you know what, this is really my teacher that taught me a way of living. But you're getting a way of living, but an understanding of how to look at life. But you're not getting the teacher himself. You're only getting a piece of his understanding, a way he looks at life. We call it his intellect. Now let's take a parent and a child. In order to have a child, there's three partners in the child. There's the father, the mother, and the Hashem. So what does the father give to create this child? According to Torah, he gives, it's called, in the white, the,
Zera.
Yeah, zera, but it's like the seed, the semen. That's a physical thing. It's not an intellectual thing. It's a real physical fluid. And the mother, the egg, And what are you creating with this physical fluid and egg? A child that's a piece of your essence. Just think a second. Because a child, according to Torah, is not, this child thinks like the parents. It has nothing to do. The child is a piece of the parent itself. It's the essence of the father. As it says in Kabbalah, ha'etzem nimshach ba'azera. The essence of the parent is going into that physical semen and egg. So when a teacher teaches a student, he's giving him a lot of intellect, a lot of understanding, a lot of deep stuff. It's called seichel, but he's giving him seichel. He's not giving him the essence of the teacher. You become a student because you learned a lot of what the teacher teaches you. But you don't have the teacher himself. You can't say, I'm an extension of my teacher. A child is an extension of the parent. It's an essence. So what do we see here? A very strange thing. In the physical, most physical thing, that's where you get more the essence than in spiritual intellect or spiritual feelings or spiritual, concepts. So in the physical, you have more essence than in spirituality. Do you understand? You see that clear or no?
Yeah. Because it's all material.
Oh, now listen to this. Gan Eden. I'm sure you heard of Gan Eden. You don't know, but Gan Eden, I just can't. But Gan Eden is a spiritual world. What do you do in Gan Eden? Your soul is sitting there and is enjoying the ziv, the ray of Hashem. And every day, the soul gets deeper, connected, and it goes higher and higher, and there's no end, because Hashem has no end, it keeps going, and that's your enjoyment. But in Gan Eden, they only have a ziv. A ziv means like a shine, a ray of Hashem. In this physical world, okay, listen to this. If in this physical world, when you take a physical pair of tefillin, I'm just giving an example, or a physical candle for Shabbos, and you light the candle or put on tefillin, you don't have a ray of Hashem, you have the essence of Hashem. So that means if I want the essence of Hashem, I can't get it in Gan Eden. Forget it. Gan Eden is only a ray, just like the student that understands the intellectual level of his teacher. He doesn't have the teacher himself, he has the intellect. So in Gan Eden, they understand a ray of God, which is infinite, but it's not God's essence. But only in the physical, there you have the essence of Hashem. So that means it's like a strange concept, because when you talk to people, they say to you, I feel more connected to God when I'm spiritual, like when I'm in a spiritual mode, or I'm on a high mountain, I'm walking through the Niagara Falls, spiritual. Meditation. But then you have, we call it a ray. There's a relationship between your connection, your spiritual, and that spiritual. But if you want the essence, it has to be in something physical. A physical mitzvah. Or we're going to learn physical learning halachot. We'll get to it in a minute. But it's a very important panta. Why? Because it says here, shemen turak shemecha. What does shemen mean? The oil itself, you're pouring, the essence of the oil you're pouring into. So we were saying, how do I get the essence of Hashem? So we were last week saying about the words of the Torah. When I study Torah, the physical words, Bereshit, Bara, Elokim, which is just a physical letter, because it's a few letters put together that make the word, and that's where you get a piece of Hashem. So now he wants to go a little more deeper into this and say, listen.
Torah come from Rik? What? Torah?
Like, to pour, from Leroken. Like to empty.
Yeah.
You take the whole essence. So Hashem says, I'm giving you the Torah, and by giving you the Torah, I'm emptying myself, meaning my essence comes in it.
Wow.
So it's not a ziv. It's not like a shine or understanding. It's the essence of Hashem. So, now which part of Torah do I get the essence of Hashem? So, a lot of people say, listen, if I learn Kabbalah, which by the way, we'll get to it in a minute, Kabbalah, what does Kabbalah talk about? All the spiritual worlds, the 10 sfirot, the 4 spiritual worlds, and all the whatever Torah. But that's all a ray, that's all a ziv, that's all a little shine of Hashem. But when I learn in the Torah about what size does the etrog have to be, or what kind of skin of an animal do I make tefillin, how the fire of candle for Shabbos, what kind of wick, which wick is kosher, which wick is not kosher, what oil, the physical thing, that's where I have the essence of Hashem.
Without understanding it?
Wow.
No, you do understand. It's a wick.
No.
I was thinking about a wick, understanding it.
Once you
Yeah.
understand it.
But a wick, I tell you, take this wick that draws the oil, take olive oil that gets drawn better, take whatever. The Torah gives all kinds of, and by Memad Likin, some people say it on Friday night. It tells you different times.
Knowledge, or it's the physical candle?
So there's two things. The mitzvah is the physical,
And there is the
but then there's and also the Torah that you discuss the physical is the physical of the Torah. So you have in the Torah like the secrets of Torah, like what's the meaning of candle, what's the meaning of tefillin, the spiritual meaning, which is 100% important. We're going to get to it. But then you have the physical halacha. What size is the sukkah? Can I make the schach from metal? Can I, all the that is like the semen of the Father, where the essence comes through. So when it says shemen turak, that Hashem says I'm pouring my oil, means I'm pouring my essence. Where am I getting it? In the physical, where the Torah speaks about physical halachot. You know what I'm saying? So let's use it in two. We're going to use two terminologies: Talmud and Kabbalah. Whenever we're going to use Talmud, it means the physical. All the laws of how and when, and the physical discussion of just Kabbalah is the mystical, the ziv. Kabbalah is the ziv, and the Talmud is the essence. Now it's interesting, a very strange thing. You see a lot of times, especially by tzaddikim, they learned first the entire Talmud like 10 and 15 times, and then Kabbalah, because the Kabbalah is adding like a spark. It's adding a light, but the essence is the Talmud. You get what I'm trying to say?
The essence is first of all in the physical, like candle. Then the second level is the Talmud, and then there is ziv only. There is no essence in the Kabbalah. It's the ziv.
Exactly. Make sense? So let's read it. No, this is very important because now it makes more sense what Shlomo Melech said. Shemen turak shemecha. So let's read it inside. You ready? We're going to read it inside. Now that I gave you the idea, we're going to go quicker inside. And then we're going to also go to, it's called riach. Because he says riach shmanecha. There is oil, and then there's oil that has a good smell. What is the difference between regular oil and oil that has a good smell? So he's going to get to it in a minute. In one hand, he wants to say the smell is a lower level than the oil, because it's only a smell of the oil. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because a riach is only a aroma. It's not an actual oil. Yeah. And it's something you can't touch. I can't touch the smell. It's not something physical. It's all spiritual. So interesting that the Kabbalah says the only part that the neshama enjoys is when you do reach, because smell touches the neshama, because it's not a physical thing. That's why after Shabbat you make samim to get your neshama back alive, because after Shabbat the neshama feels low. So he's going to get into reach shmonecha. What is reach? What's shmonecha? So that's what we're going to discuss, but the point of the whole thing is physical mitzvot, you have the essence. Just like a physical semen has the essence of the child, the physical mitzvahs, you have God himself. So it's interesting, many people used to complain to the Rebbe, why did he start with putting on tefillin on Jews and mezuzahs in some people's homes, and let them first learn Torah, and then they'll understand, and then... But the Rebbe's always felt, get the mitzvah, then you get the essence. And then you can get them also to learn and understand why the essence. Well, I want them at least to connect to the essence of Hashem. So if I could get a Jew married to Hashem, I should get him married to Hashem. How do I get him married to the essence of Hashem? Do a mitzvah. So you do a mitzvah, you're married to the essence of Hashem. That's the whole idea. So let's read inside. What does it mean? The shemen pours the essence. What does it mean? Mishnah is the oral Torah, is the Talmud. The Then the Talmud, which is the laws of the Torah, nimshach b'zeh atzmis chochmei la. The essence of God's wisdom is in the Talmud. Masha'ein gilui zeh, the essence of Hashem that's in Talmud is not afilu ba'olam esel yonim. Even in the spiritual worlds, they don't have the essence of Hashem. Ki gam began Eden, even in Gan Eden, me'er rak ziv hashchina va'ara lavad. In Gan Eden, what shines? Only a little shine and a ha'ara. It's like a little me'chach me'lah. But when you learn the Talmud, you have a piece of the essence of Hashem's chachma. And what's the reason? Why is it that in a physical thing you have more the essence? He gives an interesting thing with a lion. I don't know if you're familiar with this. According to Torah, a lion is a non-kosher animal. Aryeh is not kosher. But in Kabbalah, it says, where does the lion come from? So if you look in Shammai, in Merkavah, there's Pnei Aryeh El Hayamin. The lion is to the right of Hashem. Shor, the ox, is to the left. And the Nesher and the Adam is the middle. So right, what does it mean, right by Hashem? Right means Ahava, Chesed. Hashem doesn't have a right. It just means Chesed. So that means the lion in the spiritual world is much higher than the ox. Because he's from the Chesed of Hashem, and the ox is from the left, which is only Gevura. Gevura is a much lower level. So why is he non-kosher, and the ox is kosher? So, and on the interesting, we use also like Aryeh represents the Rosh Tevot. Aryeh is Aleph, Reish, Yud, Hey. Elul, Reish Hashanah, Yud Yom Kippur, and Hoshana Rabbah. Pnei Aryeh. That's when Hashem is revealed. We say LaDavid Hashem Oiri V'ishi, that Hashem is revealed. So like Aryeh represents how Hashem is revealed. Or as the Torah says, Aryeh Sho'ag Mi Lo Yira. When a lion screams, isn't everyone afraid? Because the lion screams, it's like, whoa. So Aryeh is like the power. And then when it comes in this world, it's a non-kosher animal. The ox, which is the lower level of godliness, is all of a sudden kosher. How does it work? So he says, no. Because just the opposite. So he says it goes the opposite. Since it's so high, it could only come down in something that's not kosher. Because the higher it is, the lower it falls. And even more than that, he wants to say, it's not like a default. That's the way you can get the essence. In the non-kosher lion, that's where you have the strength of Hashem, which is chesed. What do you see? That something is very, very holy comes down and very, very physical to the point that it's tameh. He's just giving an example. It says, Shadibur, who are other. When you speak, let's say I teach you a whole intellectual subject. I'm using my words, and I'm talking and talking, but you're only getting a little shine of the intellect. Mashenkin hatipa, but the semen, the semen from the man, nimshach gami mahus hanefesh va'atzmusa. You get the essence of the person in the semen. So you see again the concept of the higher something is, it has to go through the lower. So in Gan Eden, which is spiritual, they don't have the essence because it's too holy. It's too spiritual. Where do you have the essence? In the physical, in the semen, in the non-kosher lion.
So
You getting what I'm trying to say? So in other words, we're going to see a lot. We're going to learn this concept, how it's like take this cup and you pour it in the neck, so the top becomes the bottom. So that means what was holier, where it started from the essence, becomes the lowest here, which is the Tamei lion. So the essence of Hashem comes into the physical thing.
No, it's not become. It's easy for him. It's like a clear vessel.
Okay, yeah. It goes through.
It goes through.
V'zeu Inya, now I understand. Now you'll understand why it says shemen turak. What's turak? Shehurak. Hurak means you're pouring it out from the cup. V'nimshach, and you pour it, when you take it from the cup and you're pouring it to the other cup, you get the atzmis Hashem, the whole oil going downwards into the, you're pouring into a lower level. V'zeu mashalamayla, this is what we said before. What's higher becomes the low, because the top becomes the lower. V'zeu shim turak, and that's what he says, Kol Torah Shemeisa Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And let's just read the next paragraph, Zohar. He says Parsha Tzav, Zohar, has on each Parsha. So in Parsha Tzav it says, Shemecha Hainu Malchus. When it says, Shemen, Turak, Shemecha. I'm pouring my oil into the name. What name? That represents Malchus. Why Malchus? Sheba Hurak v'nimshach Hashem Elaha. The why Malchus Yiruta the Abba v'chochma Yosa Oretz Masha'inkin Koinen Shemayim B'Tzvuna. Interesting thing. Listen to this. The Mishlei is Shlomo HaMelech wrote Mishlei, which is like Proverbs. You know what he writes there? B'chochma Yosad Oretz. With wisdom, Hashem founded the physical earth. Uv'Svuna Tvuna Koinen Shemayim. With understanding, he made the spiritual heaven. Now, Chachma is higher than Bina. We know in the way it works is Chachma is the highest, Bina is the second. So Chachma created the physical earth, and Bina created the spiritual heaven. Why would Chachma have to create? No, because to create the physical, you need a much higher level.
Yeah, have to deal with all of us.
No, it's not so much that, but
So what's the essence in the lion is higher than the oak? Or
no, it just the lion is just giving you an example how the higher something is, the lower it comes down. So if you look at the lion where it comes from the spiritual, it's higher than the ox. But it came down into the opposite. So just giving us like a kind of an example where you see something holier becomes connected to the lower. So now we understand a little also with the oil. If I want the essence of Hashem, I need something physical. The spiritual, I'm not going to get the essence of Hashem. And then he says further, and this is an interesting thing. Now in Torah, there's two parts. And this is getting back to the same thing, and we'll get to it a little more. There's the written Torah, which is Chamishi Chumshe Torah, what we read on Shabbat every week. And then there's the Talmud, the whole oral Torah. Where do I get more the essence of Hashem? When I read the written Torah or the oral Torah?
The written.
So he says, Malchus Torah Shebal Peh Karinin La. Just the opposite. The essence of Hashem I get in the Talmud, the oral Torah, not in the written Torah. Well, we're going to get to it in a minute. Now I understand why it says Shemen Turak Shemecha. Why? By learning the halachot of the Torah Shebal Peh, like Rambam, Shulchan Aruch, the laws of the halacha, Nimshach, you get Atzmis Hashem and the essence, Shugavoyim Oid, like it says, Shemen HaToiv Al Areish, Yored Al Azakins Kanadan in Tehillim. There's a chapter 132, whatever. It says there that 133. It says Kashemen Yored Al Areish Zakan Aaron, like the oil that goes down the head of Aaron on his beard. What does this mean? Aaron pouring oil on his beard. What is that? I feel bad for Aaron that he has oil on his beard. It's not nice. But Shemen, Shemen is the essence. And I want to get the essence of Hashem. So he says, you want to know how to get it? Zakan Aaron. What's Zakan Aaron? The beard. What does a beard got to do with anything? It's called Sa'arot. In Hebrew, a hair is called Sa'ar. Why? Because a Sa'ar, let's think a second. How does your hair grow? Like what gives the energy to your hair? Your brain, the moach, and that is according to Torah, the hair is the psolet of the moach. It's almost like the moach's extra. It's like your brain is producing extra the hair. You know that or no? So therefore, yeah. But listen to this: the hair you could cut, right, and it doesn't hurt.
No.
If I cut a finger, it hurts.
Oh.
But the hair, even though you could cut and it doesn't hurt, but it's getting its shoresh from the brain itself. But it comes so condensed and so minute that by the time it comes to the hair, I only see hair. I don't see the essence of the moach. So he says, because it goes through the golgolet. Golgolet is your skull. So the skull separates between your moach and your hair, so you get a little. So he says, listen to this. When you're learning Torah, you're learning God's chachma, God's wisdom. So this wisdom of God, in order for us to understand it, it goes through like hairs. So when we're learning Talmud, whatever you learn in Talmud, Shammai says this, Hillel says this, whatever you're going to learn, it's a hair that comes from the essence of God's chachma. But since it came into a physical world, it has to go through a condensing so we could relate to it. But in this hair, you have the whole essence of Hashem. It's just so minute and so condensed that you don't see that it's the essence. So you learn about Shammai says that you should that if you marry a woman and she burned your food, you should divorce her. I'm just giving an example. I'm just don't. No, that's not.
It's not this.
No.
Salacha is next.
So now, when you learn that halacha, so I understand. Okay, if someone takes food,
Could it be a prenup?
makes sense. I cook it, it gets burned. It's a reason for the war. I want to give you a point. That in that halacha, I don't see the essence of God. I see like a hair, meaning it's so minute. I'm going to halacha. I said, what does that have to do with God? But really, in that physical halacha, I have the essence. Shemen hayored al skan ha'aron. The oil, which is the essence, that comes down through the hairs. That's why the Yud Gimel Midot HaRachamim that we say in Tachnun, but also in the month of Elul, it's called Yud Gimel Tikunei Dikna. You know that. It's called the 13 rows of God's beard. What kind of beard does God have? It just means very simple. To get God's essence, God has to put it in such a small container of a little hair so we could get at least the hair. And for us, it's not going to make us like plots from it because we have a hair. But in that hair is a piece of the moach.
Wow.
So when you're learning, the reason I'm saying this is very important because when you're learning all these halachot in Torah about people stealing, about cheating in business, all the halachot, you say, this is what God is involved in? Like such shrewd gazlanim, and they always steal a Jew from another, and they lie, they swear false, and they hold it up. But that's like a hair, that it looks so physical, this halacha, but this hair gets its direct energy from the brain, which is the essence of Hashem. But Hashem puts it in such a physical halacha that it looks to me like, I don't get inspired of this. This is like
oil dripping from your head to your beard. It slowly, it doesn't appear, it doesn't look good.
and that's where you get the essence of Hashem.
Embedded in you.
That's what he says. Now, in that pasuk, it says twice the word zakan. In this pasuk, the oil on the zaken, zakan aron. Zakan, zakan aron. Why two? So he says we're going to learn in Shchorani. There's a pasuk in Shir Hashirim, Shchorani v'nava. I am black but beautiful. The Jew is black but beautiful. It means we'll get to it when we get to it. But he says Why is it twice in this pasuk about beard? Because in Torah, there's two types of mitzvahs. There's mitzvahs aseh and mitzvahs loisaseh. Now, mitzvahs aseh hey mebchinas chesed. Mitzvahs aseh comes from the chesed of Hashem. Mimshachem mitchinas, that comes from Hashem shehu bchinas lav lunis, that's the white ketel achiver. V'amanake, it's like white wool and like white snow. That's then v'alocha shebe mitzvahs loisaseh. The laws of the what you can't do, that comes shchorot, which comes from the black hair. So you have, when you see someone with a lot of white hair, it's not because they're old. They're doing a lot of positive mitzvot. When you have black hair, you're still dealing with the prohibition. You get what I'm saying? Lotaseh. So all of you guys are old tzaddikim. You have a lot of white hair. You're doing a lot of things. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Now turn the page. V'zehu leriach inyan leriach shmanecha. Is this page 13?
Yeah.
V'zehu inyan leriach shmanecha tovim. You remember it says in Shir Hashirim, the aroma of your oil is good. What does that mean? I want you to know this oil, which is the essence of Hashem, is such a good oil that it's not just regular oil. It's a balsam oil. It's like very special. 13 rivers of oil, of smelling oil, which is a higher level than regular oil. So till now, it's called biur echad. He explained what's the idea of oil. Now he's going to go oid yeshlema. Oid yeshlema means, I want to give you another explanation. What's this oil that we speak about, reach shmanecha and shemen turak. So till now, the oil is the essence of Hashem. Where do you get the essence in the physical? And we spoke about all the examples, and that's why it smells good, because it's a higher level. But now he's going to say, no, there's two types of oil. There's regular oil, and then there's it's not contradicting, it's just adding a pihu. And then there's oil that has a good smell. What's the difference? He says like this. He says in Shir Hashirim that shemen turak hu madrega gavoya yosem min leriach shmanecha. I want you to know that shemen, the oil, is on a higher level than the reach. Not that the oil smells good means it's a better oil, like we said till now. I'm going to now split it. Oil is the essence. Reach is only a reach. It's only a smell. She'enei ela kein reach bal me'ashemen. Aval shemen turak. But if you want the essence, ka'adam medik mikli l'kiyah chaveri shenesh atzma, he gives him the oil. So now I want to understand could you help me? What's the difference between smell and the oil? Yeah. So he says, Al pishan is bar bakam acha, shebamamshach ameter shebachsav, shebchinis chas, and ameter shebapeshchinis kala. This is something new, but we say Torah tziva lanu Moshe, marasha kehilas Yaakov. It says in the Chumash Parashat V'zot HaBracha that this is the Torah that Hashem gave us, that Moshe gave us. Morasha means an inheritance. But the Gemara says you're supposed to read, instead of Morasha, Me'orasa, like Erusin, like Kiddushin.
Kiddushin
v'chuppah. So he says that Moshe gave us the Torah, but there's two levels in the Torah. There's the Torah shebachsav, and there's Torah shebal peh. Chatan is the Torah shebachsav, and the Kala is Torah shebal peh. Why? Because how do you know what's...
I mean, Torah shebal peh, there is more...
1 minute, 1 second. We're getting there. So now, how do I know what it says in the Torah shebachsav? When I learn Torah shebachsav, how do I know what it says? The Torah shebachsav is just very... like points. It doesn't have it developed. As the Torah says, it's like the tipa of the father. The semen of the father doesn't have the child. But then when it sits in the mother's womb for 9 months, then from that semen slowly develops, and you get this whole child. So the Torah Shebachsav is like that semen drop. But you have nothing. You don't know what it says. Then the Torah Shebapeh is like the mother that's developing and telling you everything that it says in Torah Shebachsav. Without the Talmud, we don't know what Torah Shebachsav is telling us. So therefore he says, when you get engaged, Erusin means engagement. You're not yet nisuyin, not yet married. So when the Torah Shebachsav and the Torah Shebapeh are just engaged, they're not yet married, then it's Erusin, and then it's Riach. You only get an aroma of the essence. You get a little shine of the Yesod Abba. Omnon, Habchina Habezu. What's the second level of Torah? Sheyumashach b'chinas chassan l'kala b'chinas pnimius Torah shebachsav. V'u'inyan nisuyin v'yichud chassan l'kala shenimshach adam chamacham Torah shebapeh. So in other words, there's two ways to connect the written Torah to the oral Torah.
Aleph.
The first one is called Novelos Chachma. What is Novelos? You know, I'm learning the written Torah, but I don't understand. So I look in Rashi, and Rashi says to me, "Oh, you know, this is what the pasuk means." So when you learn Rashi on the Chumash, not Rashi in the Talmud, what does Rashi do to you? He helps you understand what the pasuk is saying.
Pshat.
Just pshat. But you don't really get any halachot, any laws of it. You still don't know how to put on tefillin. You still don't know how to keep Shabbat. But he's giving you just the simple understanding of what the pasuk is, just the idea.
This is the smell.
That's the smell. Exactly. Rashi is like the smell of the Torah Shebachsav. Okay, at least I understand what the word is saying. But then when I get to the Talmud, and then I take the whole Torah Shebachsav, wow, it's developing hundreds of halachot, hundreds of ways how. So now I get the essence. So what he's trying to say is, in Torah there's two types. There's the Reach, which is just a little smell, and then there's the Shemen, which is the essence of the Torah. So when I learn Torah Shebal Peh and Torah Shebachsav, it depends where I'm learning. If I'm learning Chumash and Rashi, I'm getting the smell. If I'm learning Chumash and Talmud, I'm getting the Shemen. That's basically what he's getting into this piece. Now,
the action of the oil, because the Likkutei, it's also Likkutei.
It's good.
Shemen.
Yeah.
It's stuck with the smell. When it's the oil, you
have the essence. Now, remember what it says after the Reach Shmanecha, Shem Turek? Al-Kain, Alamot Aivucha. We said Alamot are the sulot, the girls that are not yet married. So they're in spirituality, it means they're closed. You know, they're not yet open. So we spoke about it in spiritual means your heart is verstopped. Like closed, like you don't have... so he says, Mikol zeh nimshach al-Kain Alamas Avucha dahainu b'chinas v'yah שמקל מבחינת מלכה שמוקד דבייר וכן חמל צילוס נמשך גיל למטה על מלכה שמיים וזה בעסק התורה when you learn Torah גם כן מבחינת לריח שמניך ושם התורה כלכן דרך חלן נקלט דודיס ובויך ולב לרייסו כשביך כל אחד ושדקונס בהסבוינס בקרב ליש המור שברך סמודב. So he says an interesting thing. I don't want you to get turned off, he says. Even if you're learning just the smell of the Torah, like just the Reach, you know, so you say, okay, I'm just learning the written Torah, so am I going to really get inspired? So he says an interesting thing. Hamor shaboy machzel mutav. In every part of Torah you learn, there's the essence. So yeah, you're not touching the essence. You're only touching the smell. But it's the smell of the essence.
Yeah.
So eventually it's going to get you. Meaning, even if you're not touching deep in, you're just touching the reach. I get the smell, I don't have the essence. But since it's the smell of the essence, it's going to get you. There's a v'zehu, tovim dodecha mim yayin. You remember we said that it's better you love from wine. Yayin, what's yayin? We said this is boinus balma des galia, which is kala. But if you want the person that's verstoppt to get his heart is closed, and he can't meditate, he can't understand godliness. So what does he do? I'm trying to understand Hashem, it doesn't talk to me. I don't get inspired with the wine. We spoke about it last week. So don't worry. Asik Torah, just learn Torah. Shemen Torah, learn the Torah. Which I'm telling you, the less machshava. And since it comes from the shemen, the ריח שמניך, eventually it's going to make chakika. Ukli gam b'mi l'libi she'atam, even in verstoppte hearts. Meaning, by you learning Torah, which is the essence of Hashem, the physical Torah, and or even you smelling the Rashi in this, it's going to eventually, since you have the essence, it's going to have to open up your heart and going to break it open and open up your verstopptkeit. Now this is essential.
Start with the ריח.
I have to start from somewhere.
Like the cartoon, when you go after the smell
Until you get to the essence. But here's an interesting thing.
In this word, the ריח is coming with the essence.
Exactly.
Here, it's not necessary. You can do the ריח by
Oni.
itself. You can do the acid by itself, and you can do both of them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's two different things. Now it's interesting. Timing?
Yeah, when it should happen.
So I tell you an interesting thing. It's a very important rule in Torah. If a person should always study Torah, keep on studying Torah, even if it's not waking him up, because since it's the essence, it's the shaman, it's going to have to wake him up. The question is, as he said, how much timing? So the thing is like this. There's a famous Hasidic expression. There's three things that have to affect you. And if it doesn't affect you, it just means you have to do it more. What is that? It says when you drink liquor, it makes you drunk. What happens if someone drinks and he's not drunk? He has to drink more. He didn't drink enough. It says someone that's wealthy is called meshuga. He's crazy. So what happens if you meet a wealthy person and he doesn't look crazy? It means he has to be more wealthy. He's not wealthy enough. When he'll be very wealthy, he'll become meshuga. Because eventually, if you're too wealthy, you're going to be meshuga. The third thing it says, if you learn Torah, it's going to be a chakika b'lev. A person learns Torah, it's not working, keep learning. Eventually the shemen is going to knock in and make turak, it's called shemen turak shemecha. And now interesting, it says, it says that the be'er shel Miriam, the be'er, what was the be'er of Miriam? That for 40 years in the desert, it traveled with the Jewish people and it gave them water. Who made that stone give water? Moshe either spoke or hit the stone and it made the water come out. So when you learn it in a very simple means, he took a stick and he banged the stone and water came out. But he says, no, this is a little deeper. Moshe represents Torah. Moshe tziva, Torah tziva l'ana Moshe. That's the shemen. That's the essence. And the stone represents the person that's verstopped the hearts. Mm-hmm. You know, the Jews that are verstopped. Mm-hmm. You met any Jews like that? And in the desert, not in Tenerife, but in the desert, Moshe had a lot like that. Yeah. And Hashem said, don't hit the stone, talk to them. Means don't hit the Jew, talk to the Jew. But he talked and talked and talked, and it didn't work. So he hit, and then water came out. So what does he say? Be'er. This Be'er Chafarua, who opened the Sarim, is Moshe and Aaron. Sarim is like the ministers. They opened up this well. So when you learn Torah, it's going to open up your heart. Sometimes you have to hit and hit and hit, but eventually it's going to do it. It says, my heart and my flesh sing to Hashem. What's heart and what's flesh? Ki alev hine alev habasar lefi she'en kelim gashmiyim. Since your physical heart and physical flesh is physical, einen nechsafim lecha. They don't have the yearning to Hashem. She'u makav v'chaya nefesh, which is the source of our life. And like we said before, Ki'in, his blindness, has got people that want to understand Hashem like wine. You start thinking, it doesn't talk to them. So what do? Yirananu el choy. If they want a person that has a heart and a flesh and he's not helping himself, sing God himself. What does it mean? So he says, listen, if your heart and your flesh is not inspired by your understanding Hashem, so get to the essence of Hashem. How do you get to the essence of Hashem? The oil. What is the oil? Torah. Since oil and the smell of oil is a much higher level than wine, and this is an interesting halacha in Shabbos. Listen to this. Shemen tzaf al gabe yayin. There's an interesting, there's a machlokes Rabbanan Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, have a chibur zel lazeh. When you take a cup of wine, fill it up, let's say to here, and then put oil. Either way, what's going to happen is the oil goes on top. Even if you put the oil first, it doesn't make a difference. Oil goes always on top. So what's the machloket? In Talmud, there's an argument between Rabban and Rabbi Yochanan. When you have oil on top of wine, are they considered connected? Mm-hmm. So what's the question? If, let's say, the wine becomes tamei, does it make the oil tamei? Or if the oil becomes tamei, does it make the wine tamei? Is it considered connected? Why? Because shemen tzaf. Shemen is always above. And that's why wherever you put oil, it always rises to the top. I remember people for Hanukkah, they didn't have enough olive oil.
So put water.
So they first put water, and then the rest of the glass, or the rest they put oil, enough just to burn for the hour or whatever. So like this, they don't have to use up all the oil because they have water. But you say, well, how do you know the oil is going to light? Because the oil always goes on top. Mm-hmm. Why does oil go on top? So he says, very simple. Because where does Shemen come from? The essence of Hashem, which is Chachma Ilah the Kola. So he's much higher than wine and any liquid. Therefore the oil, since it's higher than wine and higher than any liquid, so it could open up even if Hashtap the heart and get them to connect to Hashem. He's going to make a yachuk is like chakika, like a engraving, like a digging in the heart through the Torah, that even alamis, even the girls that are not yet open, will be able to be open, like it says in the Malach. Does it make sense? So basically the oil is the highest. Because the oil, you have the essence of Hashem. What is that? Torah. In Torah, there's two levels. There's the written Torah, the oral Torah. And we said that in the smell, there could be two levels. You could learn the Torah with the smell, which is the just surface, or with the essence. And if you learn the essence, eventually it's going to break open and break your heart. And even the lamot, even a maiden that doesn't have her open, is going to open her heart, and it's going to be able to love Hashem.
Amen.
So now, we have a few minutes left, yeah? 5-10 minutes left. Yeah. Okay, I just want to finish this mimer so we can start the next one next week. Now we'll understand the interesting thing. It says in Talmud that when you have, let's say, 2 hours a day to study Torah, what should you study? If you have 2 hours a day. Should I learn Rambam, which is the laws of Torah? Should I learn Chumash, which is the written Torah? Should I learn Kabbalah? What should I do? So the Talmud says you should divide it in 3. You know about this 3? How do you divide in 3? Look in the next but. Oh, good. The difference between Reach Shmenecha V'Shematura Kaderech Hameda Shoyin La'olam Yishalish Odem Talmudo. You should split the time of learning in 3 parts. Shlish Mikra, a third you should learn Mikra, which is Chumash. You know, the 5 books of the Torah. Shlish Mishnah, a third you should learn Mishnah, which is all the laws of the Torah. Rambam, Mishnah is all the laws. Shlish Talmud, a third you should learn Talmud. Talmud is the all the hundreds of books of Talmud which goes through. So a third Mikra, a third Mishnah, and a third Talmud. Mikra is Chumash, Mishnah is the laws of the Torah, and Talmud is how we got to the laws, the understanding of the laws.
And what we study now?
Kabbalah.
This is different category?
We're going to get to it. We'll get to it, what it is. So, where do I get the essence of Hashem? When I study Chumash, when I study Talmud, or when I study a Mishnah? So he says, "Behine belimud hamitzvos." When I learn the mitzvahs, Mishnah v'Talmud, masik v'tovim hus chachmas yisbarach. Why? Me'an chashenim slabsh v'dvarim gashmim shem ritzoyin v'chachmas yisbarach mamash v'zeh in turk shemecha. When I learn Mishnah or Talmud, and I learn all the laws of the Torah, like Sukkah, Lulav, Shofar, I'm learning all the laws. I understand it. I understand what it is. Shofar is a horn. I understand the size of the horn. I understand how the hole should be. I understand how to blow, from where to blow, which direction I should blow. I got the mahut. I got the essence of what it is. But then there's parts of the Torah that I learn that I understand the story, but I don't get what the real message is. For example, Sipuri Maisiyas Shepatanach. I learn all the stories of Tanakh, like, what do you want? Shlomo, Shimshon, Avraham with Sarah, stories. All the stories of Tanakh. So when I learn it in a simple way, it's a story. Avraham went and married Sarah, and they had children, and they couldn't have children till she was 90, and that. But is that the message that the Torah wants to tell me, just that Abraham married Sarah and they didn't have a child till 90? And is that, what am I getting, what am I understanding here? So he says here, I'm only understanding the surface when I read the stories of the Torah. Why? Like the Zohar says in Baalotcha, when you read any stories in the Torah, you're only reading the garment. So any story, forget about the laws, just for a second, let's go to all the stories in the Torah. Any story in the Torah, whether in Torah Shebachsav or Torah Tanakh, whoever you learn a story, you're only getting the garment. You're not getting what's behind it. He gives an example. In Parashat Vayishlach, it says, Ve'ela hamalachim asher molchu be'eretz Edom. These are the kings that were kings in the land of Edom, before the Jews were kings. And it goes through the 7 kings, 8 kings of Edom. Who cares what, when? Who cares about Esav and he had children and he had mamzerim? What does it got to do with me? What does it have to do? So he says, I want you to know, I understand that I want you to know, every story of the Torah has such hidden secrets from the world of Tohu. What is Tohu? Tohu is the world before Tikkun. It's such a high world that when you read it in the Torah, for you see only a story. Lavan kissed his grandchildren. We spoke about different examples. But really, there's a lot of mystical concepts behind these stories. So when I learn a story, I don't get the essence. I'm only getting the surface, the garment, the outside, the shell. I'm getting a smell. I'm not getting the real stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not getting it.
I think nothing bad with the smell. Smell is good.
It's good. Of course. No, it's good. But it's not.
Don't underestimate.
Yeah. I'll tell you, there's an interesting...
But you're not going to be savea from the smell.
You want to hear something? Every year on Purim, you're supposed to read the Megillah. The Megillah is a story. If you read the Megillah, it's just a story.
Yeah.
But it's just the surface. There's really secrets of hundreds of Maimorim of explaining. But one year, the Mittler Rebbe heard the Megillah, someone read the Megillah, and after the Balkore finished reading the Megillah, he gave him like $100 tip. The Balkore was like, wow, this is the biggest tip I ever got in my life for reading the Megillah. Because in many shuls, they give the one that reads the Megillah, they give him, like a little money. In Europe, it was a big thing. So this time, the son of the Rebbe gave him 100, like a lot of money. He says, what happened? He says, this is the first time I ever heard such a beautiful story. He said, what do you mean? He says, last year my father read the Megillah, and I heard all the secrets of the Torah in the Megillah. This is the first time I heard only a story. For such a nice story, you deserve $100.
It's happened with you last Tisha B'Av, with Megillat Echad.
You remember that?
With Megillat Echad last year. Why.
So the point here is, any story of the Torah, I'm not really getting the essence. I'm getting the smell. Right? It makes sense? Avol, but guess what? Kashayov Likkutei Torah sheyitzach sheyik havan shalom le'im Hashem dvar melokim shenal meitzim b'ayim yeshe lo yaskil ein tzorchem afil le'em kal so al kam l'shenei. So basically, when I learn any story of the Torah, you ready?
Yeah.
What do I get? Just the smell. V'lachein ha'oisius, we're holding on the left column, like four lines from the top, I think page 13. Ha'oisius of Torah, when you read the Torah, and the story, that's called Reach Shmanecha. What's Reach? It's just a smell, because I'm not going to understand the essence. I don't know what's behind the story. I'm just getting a little smell. It's a nice story. But that's just surface. Even though I don't understand what's in this hidden story, voices, but I get a smell. Im kozeh, ha'oisius u'pashas ha'sipa hein reich shmanecha, shebehem al yom mechakeh reich v'adam chen Hashem yisros kodesh. But I want you to know, even though you're only getting the smell, but a smell is a smell of the oil. It's not a smell from something else. So I get I'm with the smell, I'm dragging a little of the essence, not the essence, but I get a little piece. When you smell a good smell, even though you don't taste it, even though the smell is far away, I want you to know, the reason the Torah doesn't write to you the mystical meaning of the stories of the Torah, because it's from such a high level that I can only give you the smell of it. I can't give you the real essence of what Bilam and Balak were doing with the donkey and the she-donkey. The Arizal said, he once took a nap on Shabbos, the Arizal, for 2 hours. And after he got up, the student, Rabbi Avraham Alevi, asked him, can you tell me what did you do those 2 hours when you were sleeping on Shabbos? He says, I was learning in Gan Eden the secrets of the story of Bilam and Balak. The donkey, and the donkey hit the donkey 3 times. You know, it sounds like a nice story. So the student says, could you please teach me? I would like to know what this story means. He says, yeah, it's only going to take 80 years for me to teach it to you. 80 years. Now, why? Because the secrets of this is such deep stuff that it's a different planet. It's not like just taking something that's hard to understand and making it easier for you to understand. So that could take a few hours, a few days. But when I take something from a different world, and I want to bring you into a whole new, I have to open you up to a whole new level. I can't explain it to you. It's going to take 80 years. And he said literally, not figuratively. Wow. Of the story of Bilam and Balak. So when we read the Balak-Bilam story, we're getting a reach. But why are we getting a reach? Because it's such high secrets of the Torah that we can't get the essence. So we get a smell, but that smell connects us to the essence. Dahu mila v'zel shekosa b'zoyim aloischa. Dahu mila dahu sipar. Lav lachzor al gamel uvakasi. The reason we have a story in the Torah is not just looking at the garments. Garment means a garment. El lachzor al hu klokos. It's coming to teach us what's deeper behind it. V'afal b'kein. I just want you to know, there is something good about atzmis chachma, shemen turak, u'shneim ke'echad toiv. So meaning like this, if you have a choice to learn stories of the Torah or the laws of the Torah, Which one should we pick?
You must know the story before you know the rule.
No, I think it.
No. Let's say the story of Balak and Bilam with the horse.
No, don't need the real. You need the wood.
So he says, to get the shemen is studying the laws of the Torah, the essence. Stories of the Torah, you're only getting the smell. But I want you to know that smell is a smell of the essence. It's not just a smell. And the reason I'm not giving you the essence of the story because it's far above us. But I want you to know you need both. You need shmanecha, which is the halachot, and you need the reach shmanecha, which is the stories. Why? As he says, ushneim ke'echad tovim. Both together is good. Now, when I study Kabbalah, like this, Kabbalah, Hasidus, is that the third of Mishnah, third of Talmud, or third of Chumash? What do you think?
It's a mix.
So he says, Limud HaZoyar, when you learn Zohar, Kisvei HaArizal, or the writings of the Arizal, or this, is Shlish Mikra. It's a third of, it's called Mikra. It's Chumash. Why? Because when you learn Kabbalah, do you really understand the essence, or you're just getting a smell?
Initially, it's only the smell.
I don't understand the essence of Chachma Vatzilut. I know it exists because I read it in Kisvei Arizal. But do I understand what it is? Could I comprehend Chachma Vatzilut? When I speak to you about Malchut or Sfirat HaMalchut or Zu, I understand the Metziut, I understand it exists. But do I understand the essence of what it is? No way. The same thing when I learn Chumash. I only get a reach. I'm not getting right. So you're only getting a reach. Right. When you're learning Kabbalah, you're not getting the essence. Because Kabbalah.
No, but if you learn the essence with the Mishnah, with the Talmud, and then you're going back to the reach.
Then you're going to be a smelling oil. But look what he says further. And therefore, v'kitza abra v'af shebilchas Talmud Torah. Let's turn the page. The Medrash. Asher sifri shlish v'mishnah kapana shepeish dircha gamedesh. Ava b'limud seidas ha'Torah hazoyar ein asaga afilu gdei lachamim rak yidiyas hametzias mishal shel lo yasagas hamahos v'arei ki inyan limin hamikra shu kaida b'shemayis shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu alva b'shein masig klal atzmus hagonas behen. And that's the idea of Zoyis, that's why it's part of Mikra. So in other words, like this. Whenever I learn Chumash, especially the stories of the Chumash, it's like learning Kabbalah. Meaning, I don't understand what's really the essence of it. It's the stories. I don't understand. When I learn Kabbalah, I understand you're telling me there's Chachma, there's Bina, there's Chassid, there's Gevura, there's all kinds of things, but I don't get what it is. I know there's a Metziut like that. So it's it's included in the shlish of Mikra.
Each one of them is 80 years.
One second. And therefore he says, that's why when I learn Zohar, Kabbalah, or Chumash, it's only a reach. She'yidiyas hametzias, knowing that it exists, but you don't know what it is only reach ba'alma. It's only a aroma l'gabe asagas hamahus, when I understand the essence shebe Mishnah v'Talmud. That's why when I learn Mishnah, what's Mishnah? It's telling me the laws of the day-to-day physical things. That I understand the essence. I get it. When I learn about the 10 sfirot, even though I understand that it exists, lo yodav metalmei mas nevim zos la metzadiyas hamus gas mi derabba vad derabba lechem v'lo yishalem v'gat shereach v'diyas hametzias umcheres hadeira v'lachein tzarech li is beis abchinis leich shmenecha v'shem mektura k'mazed mishchal menechas. He says like this: a third of Mikra is Kabbalah, a third of Mishnah, and a third of Talmud. When I learn Talmud, I have the essence because I get it. A sukkah has to be 5 inches, 10 inches. I understand exactly Everything is the essence. When I learn Chumash, I'm only getting a smell because I don't get the real essence. When I learn Kabbalah, I'm only getting a smell. But guess what, my friends? Shlomo Melech says, lariach shmanecha, turak, shemen turak, alkein alamot yavucha. In order for Fashtapta gens, a Fashtapta Jew, to get inspired, he needs both. Shmanecha and reach. Reach shmanecha. You need to learn halachot, you need to learn Mishnah, you need to learn Talmud, but you also need the reach. Why? He says, by learning Kabbalah and Chassidut, which you'll learn now, it's going to help you to have Yirat Hashem and Avat Hashem, which is love of Hashem and awe of Hashem, fear of Hashem. And that we need in order to do Torah mitzvot. In other words, if a person is not going to have love and fear of Hashem, what's going to motivate him to put on tefillin? I don't love Hashem.
The smell opened the appetite.
The smell opens up the appetite. So you need a smell which is Kabbalah, Chumash. You need the essence which is the laws of the Torah. But both together is going to open your Fashtapta heart. Because if you don't have the Kabbalah and Chumash, you're not going to even want to smell it. Once you smell it and it smells good, then I'll get you the oil itself. You know, it's like you want to get someone enticed to want to eat the cholent. He smells it. Wow, this is a cholent. Then you can get him to eat the meat and potatoes. It's the same thing with Torah. If I teach you a little Kabbalah, a little Chassidut, you only get the surface. You get the Metziut. It exists. You don't really get the essence. But that gives you at least a smell of the essence. And then that's going to give me the appetite. So now I'm going to learn all the halachas of the Rambam, all the halachas of the Torah, which is the essence of Hashem, which is the shemen, and both together, Allah Ma'isaivucha, they're going to open up your Fashtapta heart that you're going to love Hashem. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.